Hi everyone, this podcast is brought to you by House of Kaystopher, that is Haus of Kaystopper. Find us on Facebook, WordPress, and Instagram. Welcome to CLOUT, the podcast, and I am your host, Katlego Christopher Khoza. Today's episode, we will be having a full conversation about first child problems and life after 18. Today, we are joined by second year animation student, star and fashion trendsetter, and social media star, Ncedo Penelope Msomi, to the studio. Hi, Ncedo.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
I'm okay. Thank you for having me here today.
I am super glad that you are here with me today, as this is our first episode. Please introduce yourself to the listeners.
As you said, the name is Ncedo Penelope Msomi. I am 20 years of age. I attend school at the animation school in Rosebank. I am doing my second year in study. And yeah, I mean, everything else you guys will find out throughout the show.
Right, thank you so much for coming here today. I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that we are going to talk about something that's really close to the both of us, as we are actually firstborn kids.
Yeah.
We share the same entitlement of this episode
Yeah.
and what the topic is. And the topic is first child problems. What does it mean to be a first child in the 21st century for you?
Well, I mean, we don't even have to restrict it to the 21st century. If you just think about it, firstborns as a whole are just guinea pigs, the ones that parents practice parenting on. And if they get it right on you, then everyone else is raised properly or better. So yeah, you're the one who they test out, like which schools are best, how do you treat your children, do you use what certain disciplines do you use, all of that stuff. So yeah, you're just the guinea pig.
I agree with that. I feel like a first child is like the okay. For any, I feel like for any parent, when they have a first kid, it's like, oh, okay, I've got a kid. Okay, what do I do? And I see it in newborn people that now have kids in my social standing, or in my social group. People that have their own kids now, they like, what do I do? Am I doing correct? It's like that child that you like, is this correct? Is this not correct? It's like it's a journey baby. It's like a child baby basically.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, trial and error, we'll see what works. What are the expectations that firstborns go through from parents?
Well, for one, me being a female, if I had to start at home, I'm expected to be a woman before even, the time of becoming a woman. Should I say, if I had to refer back to when I was younger, I have to do things that my mom is supposed to do because that's the role that they want to grow you into. And then in terms of school, you're just expected to, achieve a lot, be perfect, like how your parents, if your parents achieved good marks in high school or whatever, they expect the same from you. So yeah, you're just expected to live and lead a perfect life. That's what you're grown into, and you have this standard that sits on your shoulders, and you have to live according to that every day of your life.
And I for one never understood why do parents do that. They put this form of academic performance on you. And it's funny enough, it's not even parents, it's parent people around your parents. I remember there was this one time where I went to where my mom works. I'm not going to say what my mom does for now. But I went to her workplace, and one of the colleagues were like, and I think this was like probably I was in grade 7, and the colleagues were like, so what do you want to study? I'm like, I haven't decided yet. I'm still in between the mix of do I want to study
Oh my gosh, you're in grade 7. How do you even decide?
how do you even decide at grade 7? But I was
Yeah.
like, maybe I want to be a plastic surgeon or I want to be a lawyer. and it was like, yeah, you must achieve now. You see, your mom, when she was in university, she came up with straight A's, and you can even see her matric certificate. It was a straight A. She's a straight A student, and you should also keep up to that standard. And I'm like, we're two different people, by the way. I think, yes, I'm my mother's child, but I don't think we've got the same genes running, or we've got the same motivation in life, or just the same success story.
Yeah.
I mean, she's an A student, great for her. But does it mean that now because you were telling me, with oh, your mom is the one, do I really have to get to her level? I didn't understand that. Or even when like parents would be unhappy with the performance of their child. I mean, my
Yeah.
mom was unhappy with how I performed in high school, and it's not a lie. It's really not a lie. She was really unhappy, and like the times where I'd be like, would be in this, well, not argument per se, but in those things where parents are like, I'm done with my school. I've done my matric. And then my mom would do that whenever, like, maybe I'm failing something or I'm underperforming, where she'd be like, yeah, I'm done with my matric. And then she'd take out a matric certificate. And then she'll read me every symbol that she achieved on her matric certificate. And I'm like, okay, what does that do for me? Am I
Yeah.
supposed to jump because
Yeah.
you got an A in higher grade maths, not even standard grade? I mean, please. She did higher grade maths. So, I mean, like, am I supposed to be at that level? Even like when I was trying to get out of maths, pure maths, and I moved to maths literacy. Because apparently maths literacy is dumb maths, and then there's no such a thing. I mean, maths lit kids are far efficient in terms of they deal with what actually regular people deal with. I mean, do people know how to do RIP5 forms? Do you know how to do taxes?
Yeah.
That's what I learned in maths lit to do. And an RIP5 form is something that you will have to do once you start working. And it's what's required of you. But I mean, would you learn that at school? You would learn it through maths literacy. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with kids that do pure maths. Listen to me. There's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
You do pure maths, great. That means you do have the brains for it, and also you do have the push for it. Some people don't, and
Yeah.
some people are not really gifted in terms of knowledge. That's why we will have maths literacy and we'll have pure maths. But I'm back to what I was saying. There's this pressure that is placed upon first children, and I don't really understand why is it necessary. Because as much as it's the guinea pig, I think also the guinea pig has something to say or something to feel. So, talking about your own expectations, what are the expectations that you also had to meet besides home and school?
Well, I think in terms of that, there weren't much, but there were a few. Like, I feel as a person, you had to, like, there were expectations. Like, you expected yourself to, grow up really quickly because that's what's happening. Like, you're being made to do things that n- should I say normal kids shouldn't do. Like, you have to act grown up and, like, sort of become a parent to your younger siblings and whatnot. So yeah, there's just this big expectation of you becoming mature, and you also want to mature because it just doesn't feel right being a child and having, like, adult roles.
And I understand. And you were touching about siblings, and I do know that you have a younger sibling. With expectations of a firstborn, I'm sure there's been instances where they say you have to be a good role model. This person has to
Yeah,
look after you.
definitely.
I mean, is it necessary for you to do that? And like, when your parents tell you to do that, how does it make you feel?
Honestly, like, for me, I feel like I can, like, play the role of being like an older sister, but I don't want to take it as far as, like, acting as your parent, even though that's what I'm expected to do. I just feel like parents just put that they just, like, push you into that life because sometimes they're also not there to be the parent to your younger siblings, so you kind of have to take over, unfortunately. But yeah, that's the way it is.
I saw something on BuzzFeed. when I was doing research for the show, and it was like 21 reasons that firstborn kids will know, like the hardships.
Yeah.
And the one thing was allowing your younger siblings to go out to parties, and you were not allowed to go out to
Ooh,
parties.
I am so touched. I am so touched because there were like so many things that I was not allowed to do
Same,
as a child, but then my
same.
younger brother is allowed to do. For example, like where we stay, right? It's sort of an estate place thingy. I don't know. But yeah, I was basically like if I had to go and out and play with my friends, I was not allowed to pass the two corners of the street. If I passed the two corners of the street, I would get beaten up like so bad, like a whole shambok, guys. Like life was rough. And then like I had to be home by like 5:30 when the lights turned on, or I would get
Or 6
beat.
p.m. It's like you
Yo,
have to be in
guys.
this house by
And then
6
like
p.m. And I'm
my
like, what? In the summer, the sun sets at like in summer the
It's
sun
like at
sets at like
7:30, which you're going home at like 5, because wow, your parents are insane. And then my brother, like literally, I feel at the point that he's at now, like I think what is he? He's turning 14 in December or something. And he like literally does whatever he wants, and I was not allowed to. Like, guys, like he can like walk to like the mall if he wants. He can like stay out as late as he wants. Like, and another thing, like his friends can like sleep over, but I was like not allowed to sleep over
oh
or
my
have people
god.
sleep over. Like,
Oh
I am
my
so touched.
God.
I'm sour. Like, honestly.
Oh my god. You just brought up something. Like my mom, and I think it also came with with the pressure of being a boy. It was I was not allowed sleepovers. Like I could not go sleepover at anyone's house. Like I remember there was the one time where I was at your house, and I kid you not when I repeat the story, I was at your house, and okay, if people need to know, we're actually cousins,
Yeah.
and I was at your house this one evening, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna sleep over here. I'm cool. I'm fine. And I'm like, I'm not gonna tell my mom that I'm sleeping over here. I'm gonna tell her like probably like late at night. I'm just gonna be like, your parents are busy. Your parents are like somewhere. Your parents are going somewhere, and they're gonna take me home later. I remember this instant. It was like probably around about like 1 a.m. and my mom calls me and she's like, aren't you coming home? I'm like, no, I'm not coming home. I can't come home because Nato's parents are not here, and they'll be back in the morning, and then they'll bring me to the house, so I'm have to sleep over here. 15 minutes later, and I kid you not, 15 minutes later, my mom's car was outside hooting, and it was like,
Yeah.
come home. I'm like, what the hell? It's 1 a.m. You are not going to even allow me to put my
Where
head
was
down.
the chill?
Where was the chill? It was not located. And I'm like, it's funny how now with the younger siblings that I have now, the younger kids, heck, sleepovers are like a thing.
Dude, like,
And I'm like, wow, okay, so me now, why didn't I go to a sleepover? Why didn't I not have a sleepover? And like, what was the issue with sleepovers when I was the kid? Like, now I'm just looking at my younger siblings and I'm like, because you even hear like, yeah, Usman is coming to sleep here. Oh, I'm going to Usman's house and I'll be back on Sunday. And I'm like, yeah, but me not even if I wanted to do that when I was young, it was like, no, you are disrespecting me. You're disrespecting the grace of God. And I'm like, how does God involve into a sleepover? Because I remember this was like the one thing that sat in my mind when my mom was like shouting me in the car when we were going back home. It's like, you're disrespecting me. You're disrespecting the grace of God. I am your mother. I am supposed to look after you. If anything happens, I'm like, but what would happen because I'm at my cousin's house?
exactly.
What could be the worst thing that could happen? And I mean, I think at comfort is what I always thought, and it's when we talked about it with my mom later when I was grown. To my comfort is in my mind, I'm like, well, your child is a homosexual. He's not going to do anything. And if you're right
Yeah.
about he's with a girl, he's not going to do anything.
Plus a girl who's his cousin.
A girl who's his
What?
cousin.
Really?
Like, he's not going to do anything. They're just going to talk about boys. They're going to try to sleep, stay up. They're not going to even try to sleep. They're going to try to eat food.
Yeah.
They're going to try to just talk about anything that's anything. That's what they're going to do, basically. But now it's like, you. I was like, but I don't understand it. Like, sleep over. It's harmless. Silala, nilala, pantulala, mpete lumuntu. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, and I laugh now when it happens. Like, now, like, younger siblings have got this freedom. And I'm like, I gave you that freedom, by the way. You may not
Yeah,
know.
you fought for it actually.
I fought for this. And I won't even get into how we were not allowed to go to parties. Or if we were allowed to go to parties, it would be like, I will pick you up at this time. And you're like, but the party does not get amped
It
at
hasn't
this
even
time.
started.
It hasn't even started. And you're going to tell me that I must be home or you're on my way to fetch me. I don't get it. Have you ever had that instance where it's like, I want to go to a party and your parent is like, your mom or your dad is like, okay, let's say the party only ends at like 11. And your parents are like, we're going to pick up at 6. Like, what comes into your mind? What do you do?
Actually, my parents are like really dramatic. So I found like, I think there was this one time where I actually told them, okay, yeah, I want to go to this person's party, what not. And they like overly dramatic. It's like, yeah, I want their parents' address. I want to speak to them.
Oh my God.
I want to know the location. And you, like, literally, most of the time, the party's like super chilled. So like, how am I gonna get the parents' address or whatever? So I like literally always resorted to lying about where the party is, what's going on, just so I can go. And then I'd like literally promise to be back at a certain time, because I know if I like actually went and told them the truth that no, this is the party is gonna end at 2 a.m. It's my friend's party. No, like, adults or parents or anything like that, they would have like said no, and I wouldn't even have a life. So yeah.
And I swear to you, I think our parents think the same, because my mom is just the same person who's like, I need to call that person's mother. I need to find out, what are you guys doing? Where will you guys be? And is there adult supervision? I'm like, adult supervision. And like, funny enough, and I sit back and I'm like, oh my God, there are kids that are far worse than me out here. There are kids that have done the most. But I'm like, why am I in this cage? Because I would like these kids that have done the most. Parents are so chilled. They are like, no, it's fine. You can go out. I'm like, and now when where I'm standing, I see kids who are like even younger than me, 15, 16, doing the most.
Yeah.
That I couldn't even do. Even if when I even tried to do, it was like, you cannot do the most. You're going to be cut short. And I think it's when I only turned 18, I only started the freedom. I'm going to put it as the freedom. But it's only after I turned 18 where there was just a release of, okay, you can stay out or you can come home late, but you must call and tell us where are you. And it's only when it came at 18 and I was like, now 18, it's kind of boring. Because the fun years is when you're still growing.
Your prime is gone.
Your prime of, I want to do this, is gone, because you're like, 18, okay. And like, one perfect example, and I wish I didn't want to talk about this, but it's one of the examples. Remember there was this period of hood versus burbs?
Yeah.
And that was a trend. That was a full trend in the South. And everyone used to attend that. I remember there was the one party that was hosted by one of my friends at their place. And believe you me, I wanted to go. I had organized with my friend to call the mother to call my mother, and just to tell the mother, no, there's nothing. They're going to be safe. There's adult supervision. I'm going to be the supervisor. Gupila. I tell you now, it was like, okay, where's the venue? I'm like, the venue is this place. Okay, so what time must I drop you off? I'm like, If you can take me like earlier on, it would be great. What? And then the problem was with that event, it became so major
Yeah.
that when my mom knew where the location is and she put 2 plus 2, she was like, you're going to Hood versus Babes. I think not. Stay inside. I'm like, what the hell? I'm going to miss out on a party that's epic because, trust me, the next day at school, everyone is talking about it.
Yeah.
Everyone is talking about Hood versus Babes. And it's like, did you go? Did you not go? Do you know who was there? And the people that were actually at Hood versus Babes are like, oh, it was so nice. And I'm like, the joy.
FOMO.
The FOMO is killing me, but the joy that you guys have, at least your
Yeah.
parents could like do that. And and so another things where I was saying that maybe some kids, some firstborn kids, don't actually go through that rebel process where they actually become so hardcore rebels that they cause problems for their own parents.
Ooh,
Because
I was one
because
of those.
some, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm also one of them that I wasn't a full rebel, and I didn't cause my parents the pain, the heartache, the stress, because I didn't want to do that myself. I didn't because I'm like, I understand my parents and I respect them, but the way it seems like it's like the kids that can give their parents the most hardship actually become the ones that are able to have the freedom.
Yeah.
And once they've got the freedom, they actually know how to use the freedom. Because I have friends that were the heartbreakers and the causes of rebels. And when I look at them now, it's like, okay, so you were a rebel and that phase blew up and look at you right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we both know the person, Tejo. I think she is a perfect example of she was a rebel to her mom.
Yeah.
She had too much freedom. But if you look at her now, she is like businesswoman, socialite.
Yeah.
She's got a family, and she's actually doing great. And I'm like, but you see, I didn't do any of that.
But like honestly, even if I don't even think that it like necessarily depends on like you being a rebel, like even if you are a hardcore rebel, it really depends on like how stern your parents' hand on you is. Like
Yeah.
I am a rebel. I know that I've been like my parents are so strict. I've done so many things and I've been punished for it so many times. And even to this day, I can't just, say if I want to go out to lunch with like one of my friends, be like, okay, I'm going with Katlego to lunch at this place and I'll be back at this time. I can't tell them. I still have to ask for permission to have a social life. Like, that's how bad it is for me.
It's
So yeah.
crazy. And it's something that I did talk about with my mom recently, and I got into a fight about it. But pasture. I feel like some parents have this thing of we are the people that put money in your account.
Yeah, you
So
have to be grateful. You
I
can't.
have to be grateful. And this money, in other words, I feel like this money that the parents actually give to kids is like, I'm controlling you with this money,
Yeah.
and you will follow my laws.
Yeah.
If you don't do 1, 2, 3, you're not gonna get this money that I give you.
Well, since nobody's parents are here, I just want to say to the parents out here, like, yo, nobody asked to be given birth to. I didn't pop up from the sky with God and everything, be like, yo, I want you to be my parents. So like you did that to yourself. I feel like because you had a child, it's kind of like your innate responsibility to take care of that child. You can't expect me to be grateful for something that you're already supposed to do. Yes, I'm going to be grateful that you're like a good parent and whatnot, but you can't expect me to be, grateful for you being a parent. You chose that life on your own entirely. So do what you gotta do.
But my thing is, I'm just trying to understand the dynamics of why do some parents go to the extent of using money as a control factor to their kids. Because I'm like, okay, imali only as in the money that you decide to give me. It's the money that you give me, and I use it for my own stuff. But now you turn it around and you're using it as a controlling force. In terms of, you must do this in order to get it. You must do that in order to get it. And I'm trying to understand, Guti, Okay, so is this money the money that you normally give me as you giving it to me, or is this money the money now that I have to work for in order to get it? Because hello, where are we? Are we at the point where it seems like I am working for this money, or I never understand the semantics. Like whenever that happens, like from my own experience, like there was a time where it was like um I would negotiate with the money, and I was like, you know, since high school, I've been getting this X amount.
Yeah.
It's not enough. I need this X amount. It was like, oh, hell no. You need this X amount? Okay, fine. If you think this X amount is for you, you're gonna have to do this. And some of the things that they enlist for me to do are things that I really don't like.
Yeah.
And as much as I want to say, I'm not gonna do them, I will end up doing them
Because money.
because I don't have a job. I'm a kid. I'm still a student. I'm going to school. I'm going to learn, and I don't have money. You guys have the money, and you guys have ultimately the control of anything that I do. So it's like, why? Why do you do that?
Yeah, on the whole, like using money to, control your child. I've seen that happen a lot, especially at our house. Like, cause my dad is just a lot as a human being, if I can say that. Yeah, that's the one thing when you say like he is a lot. Like, so you would find that if he wants you to do, something like, for example, like I'm not like as much as I am social and stuff, I'm only social to the people that I want to be social with. I mean, I have no problem with like meeting people and whatnot, but like certain places are not for me. So like literally he'd sort of pay me. It wouldn't like necessarily be money, but it would be like junk food like McDonald's or something. It's like, okay, if you guys go to youth and you bring your friends, I will buy you McDonald's afterwards, type of
Oh
thing.
my
Like
god, that is
all the
so true
time.
because when you were growing up, that was like the exact same thing. It was like, if you can get your cousin to come to youth, then after youth, we can go to McDonald's and you guys can order whatever. Okay, now I won't lie. That the incentive part was very nice.
Yeah.
It was nice. I mean, we could go to youth, and that's the thing. We both are grown into Christian homes. Youth was not a problem for me, and even if we could still do youth, we would still do youth. But the incentive part was like, okay, after praising the Lord, after screaming, after sweating, yeah,
It was all
I
worth
knew
it.
after this sweating, I am going to go to McDonald's. I am getting a
Yeah.
Big Mac. I am done. I have sweated and have screamed to the Lord on a Friday night.
Yeah,
That's
honestly.
true. That is really true. You was as you were still saying.
Like you'd honestly like, force yourself into like different social circles just so you can get something out of it. Like I remember like or like cuz like at my house, like, well, personally I don't like visiting like my dad's family because boring anyway. But yeah, and I'm closer to my mom's mom than I am to like anyone else. So for me it's like whenever I have holidays I want to go see her and stuff. And like sometimes he'd be like, okay, if you guys come with me to Durban to KZN and we go and see my mom and we'll go and do this, we will go to the beach, I'll take you shopping, I'll do this. And I mean, as nice as that is, like, I mean, you would do it like when you were younger, but now it's just like,
Yeah.
you know,
Now you're like,
whatevs.
I've got my own brain. It works, and I can
Whatevs.
use it.
I'm
And like,
over it.
I'm over this.
Yeah.
But it's one of the things that actually it's a trend, and people actually firstborns go through it with their parents.
Yeah.
What are the problems that first kids can overcome? Like these problems that we've been talking about. How can they overcome these issues?
Well, for one, I would think that you need, the support of your parents because most of the pressure comes from them. So if you can actually sit down with your parents and like tell them that, look, this is how you guys treat me, and I think that we can change 1, 2, and 3. And then if your parents are, not closed minded or anything of that sort, then you guys can actually like, compromise or come to an agreement and like maybe like create a perfect living situation for the both of you, both parents and the child, in which the child is happy and the parents are happy. So yeah, I think that would be the one thing I could say.
Listen, as she said, if your parents are very open-minded, that could work. It's not a lot of kids, eh?
Yeah,
Out
it's
here
not.
that have those parents that are like, oh no, I understand, I hear what you're saying. Because some parents are like, no, my rule or nothing, and you're like,
Yeah, if you live under my roof, it's my rules. When you get your own house, you gonna make your own rules in your own roof, and you're like,
and I'm like,
yo,
but
when will that be? Like, I will get a house when I'm old. What the hell?
some parents actually even go to the extent where they even choose university for you. Then they're like, you're not getting out
Yes.
of the house. You must get out of the
Yes.
house once you've got the
I
degree.
have
And I'm like,
I have a
what?
friend like that. Like
What
my
are
friend,
you? What?
my one friend
Yeah.
is like is living with her parents. She's doing medicine, and they said she's only leaving once she gets married. Basically, her husband has to come and fetch her. Like wow, it's a lot. Honestly,
Some parents actually are like that. They're like, no, yeah, we understand you're 21. Once you're
but
20,
you're still my
but
child.
you're still my child.
Yeah, there's that thing
And I'm
also,
like,
like you're treated like a child for so long, even though you're growing up. Like that's what I don't get. Like especially when you're a female, like you're expected to grow up and mature so fast, like at the age of 13, and then when you're 21 and you want to do grown up and mature things, they still want to be like, you're my child. What the hell do you want? Like make up your mind.
and I still don't understand. And funny enough, we both turning 21 very soon.
Yeah.
But heck, my mom still wants to control me.
Same.
And I'm like, but I'm 21. At 21,
oh, dude.
you're supposed to. I supposed to like. And it's one of the funny things when it was my 19th birthday, I think, and it was still when I was getting that little bit of freedom. I don't understand why do I have to call my mom per hourly of where I'm at. And this was the time where I went to like a party. It was an open party. It was some location, and per hour of the party, I had to say, "Hi, I'm still at the party. Yes, I'll be home at 2 a.m. Yes, I am safe. Yes, everything is fine. Yes, I'm not drinking.
Oh.
Hell yeah, I'm drinking, but I'm not drinking. I clock hourly, and I'm like, even now, I still have to like send an SMS of I'm going somewhere, or like even when I leave the house, I have to say I'm leaving the house, or if I have to go see someone, I'm like, can I go visit? And I'm like,
oh,
I'm
when you're going to the
21.
shop down the road, yeah,
Dude.
I am going to buy airtime. I will be back in 10 minutes.
I'm like, but I'm 21. Why am I still letting you know? And then they want to say, no, but it's easy for kids to be kidnapped. I'm like, really?
Oh
They
my
should.
god!
Why didn't they take my ass when I was 13? Because heck, I've been
And
asking
to be
this
honest, I
permission
feel like-
from long ago.
And if
And
you're
look at
like
where I'm at now.
educated, if you're like educated on the whole like thing of like, you know, kidnapping, and you see all these stories on like Twitter and whatnot, you make damn sure you know like what's going on. You're aware of your surroundings and stuff. I remember the one time I was coming back from school and it was like super dark and it was late, and then some white car like stopped like literally near me, and I ran for my dear life, only to turn around and find out that it was my friend and her boyfriend. They wanted us to go for ice cream, but you know, at the end of the day, I still did the right thing. I ran for my dear life. Like, I know how to handle such situations.
But trust me, you will still ask to go to Spaza, or you tell like, get me a 5 rand. You still be like, yeah, I'm just quickly and you're like, but why am I doing this? Why? All right, we are quickly going to take a break, and we are going to jump into our second topic of discussion. Stay tuned. Hi everyone, whilst we're on a break, don't forget to check out our social media pages. That is House of Kaystopher on Instagram, WordPress, and Facebook. That is HAUS of KAYSTOPHER. If you'd like to help us raise funds to finish off season 1 of CLOUT the podcast, send us an email to HAUS of KAYSTOPHER at gmail.com. That's House of Kaystopher at gmail.com. Thank you for listening and stay tuned. Welcome back to our podcast show. You are still tuned in to CLOUT the podcast, and I am your host, Katlego Christopher Khoza. We are still in studio with the one and the only, your faves, Ncedo, Penelope, Msomi.
Hey y'all.
Right. So now we're gonna get into the second topic, and that is life after 18.
Was it guava deep?
Yeah. Now this is where we get very, very get into the topic and we get into it. So I just want to start post matric.
Man.
Once you got that certificate from Umalusi and it said,
guys.
these are your settings in all your subjects. Well done. You have a bachelor's degree. You have an entry to university. What happens?
Well, honestly, like, okay, let me just start pre and then post matric. Pre matric, not pre matric, in matric, guys. Like, I mean, because I can draw and stuff, and I mean, well, besides like being smart on the side, like for me personally, I didn't feel strongly about like going to do something that involves science or accounting as my parents expected or whatever. I was like really like looking at animation and I was like, yeah, this sounds cool. I want to do this. I mean, I can draw for the rest of my life. That's nice. Or so I thought. Anyway. But yeah, so yeah. And I went to the place, I applied, had to hand in a portfolio, got accepted. So, matric wasn't as stressful for me as everyone else because I was already accepted into the school that I wanted to go to. But, because my parents expected certain marks, like my mom got like 6 A's or something and she missed maths by like 3%. So it was like, whoo, pressure.
Oh my God.
And yeah, I didn't sleep the night when we were supposed to get our results. I was literally freaking like, I was out of my mind. I couldn't watch TV. I couldn't sit still. I couldn't talk to anyone. Like, I couldn't do anything. I didn't want to sleep. I didn't want to do anything. Then I got the marks and I was like, okay, cool, sharp. I'm happy with this. I'm content. It's what it is. And then, it was like, okay, now I can enjoy like the last week of December and January. Because, now I'm a varsity student. I don't have to go to school in January because, school starts in Feb. So, January, I'm getting hyped. Even though I'm broke, I'm chilling at home, crashed, everything. I'm hyped. I'm hyped.
Yeah.
Gonna go to school, whatever. So cool. Started varsity off with the party. It was lit. It was nice. And then, varsity started. I mean, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad at first, and then like literally from May, like that's when shit hits the fan, and life just gets hectic because like it's like matric times 7. Like you have so much things to do. Like you have to do this and you have to do that, and everything's due all at the same time, and you have to find like time to do all of these things. Like I mean, as much as matric was hard, you were like somewhat disciplined. You woke up at like 5 or 6, you got to school by 7:30, were in class from like 8 till like 1 or something, extra lessons or extracurricular activities. You got home, you did your homework, slept at around 10, repeat process. Now, I think for me, from like last year May onwards, my life changed completely because it was like, now I have to get out of that routine because for one, my classes start at 1, end at 5. I have to go home, eat taxi now. Woo! That's another story. 2 taxis. I have to take one from Rosebank to town to home. And the lines at Bree are impossible. Like, life is so hard. And then you get there, you're tired, you don't want to work. So then you take a break. But then when you take a break, you feel guilty. So you end up working. But then you don't even know how to do the work because it's the first time you do this thing. So, like, you're there, YouTube tutorials and everything. And, like, you have to work so hard because you want to do so good because you don't want to like not disappoint, you don't want to disappoint your parents and whatnot. So I literally wouldn't sleep, and then like I'd struggle waking up for a class at 1 o'clock when usually I was like used to waking up at like 5, but now I can't. It's such a switch. Like literally your life changes. You become more tired. You have to learn how to survive on like 3 to 4 hours of sleep. You have to learn how to focus during lectures for more than 15 minutes. You have to understand that nobody's gonna baby you anymore. It's not like in high school where they would ask you, where's your assignment? Why haven't you handed it
Oh,
in? Why didn't you do your homework? Nobody cares. Like from now on, if you don't hand in your assignment, it's 10% off, chopped per day. Like it's scary. It is so scary because you're just trying to keep up with everything, but at the same time, you neglect like so many parts of yourself. You don't have time to take care of yourself. You even forget about brushing your hair. You just want to get to school, do the thing, go home, try to sleep. Like I think for me the most important thing now, it's not even like having a life or anything. It's about getting sleep, because that's the one thing I lack. I don't even like use my phone or anything. I have to just work at school. Work. I can't wait to get home and sleep. Like literally it's life changing. It's a lot.
what you said is honestly the truth. And I sometimes sit back and I'm like, I wish someone came to me in but anyway, even if someone came to me in matric and said, "Boy, life after you get out of these walls becomes something brand new."
Mm-hmm.
Even if someone said that to me, I'd be like, "Nah, you're playing."
Yeah, because everyone has this like vision that, varsity is so nice. You attend parties all the time. You
There
do
is
this. You
no
have freedom.
such.
Never. Don't play yourself. Don't play yourself, guys. Yo.
I ultimately feel like even if someone did say that life, once you get this certificate, becomes a new ball game, you do not know. There's a video, and it's you can find it anywhere on the internet. This animation artist takes life as a video game.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, well, this is how the game starts, like from ages 0 to like 10. The game is still loading and the character is still like growing and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. And then from like 10 to 18, the character is more developed in body, and you see that the character is
Yeah.
growing. And then it's like, well, and between the ages of 18 up to like 65, this is when the character is exposed to malfunction, software updates, and everything. And this is what, like, I'm like, this is what life literally is. Because once you walk out of that school that you're in matric, and you're like, real life is waiting to punch you like nonsense. I kid you not. And what you were talking about in terms of academics, I took a gap year last year, but funny enough, I still ended up going to attend some school,
Yeah.
and I did not know this thing called assignments, and assignments are a big thing. Please, and I'm like, yeah, now I know how assignments are some things that you have to actually put your work in. You have to put it in, because guess what? Those assignments are the ones that ultimately choose if you're at the exam.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wish we could go to schools and tell kids, okay, when you come out, please don't take assignments as a joke, because these things, they weigh them and they decide, do you go write that exam or not?
Yeah.
And you still need to pray to qualify to an exam. Once you qualify that exam, you must pray you actually pass that exam. There's so much prayer that goes into just me getting a pass at the end of the year. There is, because it's like assignment must go well. After assignment, I must pray to get into the exam. Pray that I pass the exam with 50% and above, and then poof, I've survived. I
Yeah.
kid you not. If someone told me that there was such a journey, I'd still would say, "Are you playing?" But like once it happens, what it happened to me, I was like, "You, I was not ready for this."
Yeah, honestly, the same.
I was not ready for this. If and someone wrote on Facebook, it would be nice if schools actually have a subject called life, and they teach
not life orientation.
not life orientation, life, because life orientation, it's cute for some things, but it's after that it's like, ugh, really, what do you do in life orientation? And actually in matric, what do you do in life orientation besides
Exercise.
assignments, exercise, and an assignment?
Oh,
I
God.
mean, there are things. As much as we learn, I mean, come on. As much as we all learned about teenage pregnancy and life orientation, we still had friends that got pregnant
Yeah.
and they were teenagers. So it's
Things
like,
happen.
as much as it's taught, I wish there was a subject called life, and it's a compulsory subject, and it should only be instilled from grade 11 and grade 12, where they teach you everything.
And it shouldn't be like the teacher from the school.
It shouldn't be a teacher.
They should have like people who come and visit people all from like different journeys. Someone who had a child when they were pregnant at 16. Someone who is trying to recover from drugs. You know, all different journeys from life.
And just to come in and say, okay, this is what we go through. And also, I wish this subject would like teach us simple things. Bank account, bank statement, knowing what the hell are debit orders and what the hell is a bank charge.
And knowing how to handle your money.
Knowing how to handle money, guys, money is one page. And also, I need to know how in the hell do I get charged 55 rands at the end of the month? Like, where is this 55 rands from? Like, how does these bank charges, where do they come from? Like, I wish there was this subject that we could teach kids while they're in grade 11 and grade 12 so that they can be prepared. As much as life is exciting once you're done with school, it comes in with huge amount of responsibilities that you don't even think about. It just comes knocking, and not even knocking. Sometimes it shows up. And you're like, wow, I was not ready for you. And it's like, well, you older now, so facts are facts. What are you going to do? So post-matric does become hectic, but it will get better, I think. I don't know. For me, personally, it hasn't gotten better yet. So I'm kind of waiting for it to get better. But yeah. What are the expectations that you have? I mean, this is normal for any kid. We have expectations.
Yeah.
What are the expectations that you had? And now that reality is here, what do you think about your expectations? I mean, I think as far as in, for me, example, I was like, when I'm 21, I'm going to have a car. I'm going to live in an apartment. I'm going to have a job.
I am getting so touched.
I'm going to have a job. And at the age of 25, I'm going to be making 5 stars. In my bank account, there'll be like 6 zeros in my bank account. And my mom, I'm going to buy her the world. Like, that expectation that you had when you're like, I'm going to get this matric. I'm going to go to university. I'm going to get my degree. I'm going to, like, what are your expectations that you had and versus the reality that you're in now?
To be honest, like, in terms of expectations, you're expecting to do, like, well. But, like, you know, like, not well, like, you know, where you, like, outshine everyone. But well enough for you to, you know, like, finish your course in the time that you were supposed to finish it.
Yeah.
But then, like, I think with reality, you realize that failure is a real thing. Like,
it is a real
guys, I think was it last
thing.
year I failed an assignment and I couldn't get over it. Like, it was the worst thing, and I had to work twice as hard just to, you know, get my average right and pass and whatnot. And like, expectations, guys, like, you're expecting life to, you know, run smoothly. Like, you're expecting to have a balanced life where you have a social life, you have a school life, you can party, you go to church. Every like aspect of your life is, you expect it to be like somewhat involved. And in terms of like reality, like, in all honesty, like, at this point, I mean, I have friends, but do I talk to them? No. We're all busy. Do I go to church? No, because I'm at school on a Sunday. Like, it's so sad because, like, literally school takes away like everything, every privilege you had, all the time you had. It becomes so time consuming that you don't have time for anything but it. And like, you know, you don't want to not have time for like not school. You don't want to like focus on other things that aren't school because you're just trying to like get through these 4 years, get that damn degree and bounce. Like, for me, I'm like graduating next year and I'm just trying to like, you know, get my things together so that, you know what, I can like get an internship, get paid, leave that house I live in with my parents. I am tired. You know, even if it means I must use public transport, it's fine. I just want to have my own space, enjoy the freedom I've never had, you know, do things, fun things, even though I'll have a job, but, you know, try to make time for other things on weekends. Because, like, I feel like when you have a job, you don't necessarily have to work on the weekend, well, unless your job entails you to. But if you have a
Yeah.
9 to 5 job, you don't have to do that. It's literally Monday to Friday. I'm okay with that. But like a whole 24/7 thing, like how school's going on right now, nah, that life ain't for me. So yeah, I really can't wait. I just want to finish and then like, get my life going. I feel like life, where you live luxury, you plan on getting a car or a house, literally starts
You
after
go
your
to
first or your
Dubai.
second job. Yeah, after your first or your second job, indeed.
I won't lie. I had expectations when I was growing up of like where I want to be, and there's this meme that's like, there's this meme it goes around, it circulates, where it's like, remember when you were young and you're laughing at your 25-year-old cousin, and you're like, they don't have their life together.
Yeah.
Where are you today? And it's the truth, because where am I today? Because I was like, I'm gonna get my matric. I'm going to go to university. I'm going to go to university, and by the age of 21, I'm going to be done with university. I'm going to have a job. There's going to be a job already waiting for me at the door. Like, wow.
Yeah.
In my imagination, there's a job waiting for me. There's a job waiting for me. I'm going to work. My salary has to be something that is close to like 30,000 rands per month. I'm going to buy an apartment. I'm going to live alone. I'm going to buy a car. In my third salary, I'm going to buy myself this car, this Mazda car, and then I'm going to be set.
Yeah.
Like, my life is set. It's done. I've got the degree, I've got the job, I've got the money. Set.
Also like the expectation of which varsity you're gonna go to.
Which
Everyone's
varsity?
like, oh, I wanna go to UCT.
Funny
I
enough,
wanna go to Verts.
That's the
Verts,
funny
Verts,
thing
Verts.
that we all
And they
do.
don't even pronounce Verts right. It's Verts now. Like, you're like, okay, you know what, guys?
I have
I
have a question for the kids at UCT. Is it degree or is it degree? How do you pronounce it? Is it degree or is it degree? Anyway, it's funny because we all do that in matric where we hype
you
ourselves.
compete. You're like, I applied to Verts.
I applied to
I'm gonna get accepted.
Stellenbosch, and you name them like top, hey, and no one will mention UJ because everyone's like,
Hey.
UJ,
Actually, like my parents didn't even allow me to apply there. They were like, no, you're not going to another high school. And I'm like, ooh, heavy shade.
But everyone is like, yeah, I'm applied at Verts. I've applied at Varsity College, Stellenbosch, UCT. They name them. Like, everyone is like hyping each other. I'm going here, going here. And then in the midst of the application process, it hits you APS scores. And you're like, APS scores, guys. And I think some universities have ridiculous APS scores.
Yeah, they do.
And I'm
They
like,
really do.
how do you expect me to achieve that APS? I remember there's one course that I wanted to study at UCT because I wanted to apply to UCT. I was one of those kids, like hype master. I wanted to apply. They wanted 420 APS scores.
Oh gosh.
And that's like 42 APSs normally, but they call it 420. And that 420 is just like in their level of acceptance that they have, because if I had like 450 APSs, that's like immediate acceptance. 420 is like waiting list. And then the minimum that they had was 380. And 380 is like maybe not,
Yeah.
And I'm like, I must get 420 just to be on a waiting list. What? Like, APSs, are they necessary to be this ridiculous?
Yeah.
I understand we're also living in the society where education is, it's, how can I put it? Matric education versus university education. Like, I don't understand why the government actually does allow 30% as a pass.
Yeah.
Because when you
Honestly,
get
they're
to
killing
university,
students.
when you get to university, it's like 50 or nothing.
Yeah.
So it's like this child will basically go through the whole year on a 30 and get out with a 30. And it's like, but when you get to university, it's a whole new ball game.
Yeah.
So I sit back and I'm like, and then people are like, yeah, but there's public schools and that's why there's private schools. Not everyone can afford a
Exactly.
private
Ooh.
education.
Private schools are expensive, y'all.
Private schools are flipping expensive. And you can be like, I'm going to the most affordable one. Those most affordable ones actually come back with crap, but also come back with these ridiculous thing on what do you call them? What parents get end of the month? What do they get them? School fees, the statement.
Yeah.
Come back with ridiculous things.
Yeah.
Building
You had to
levy
pay
1,000. I'm like, building levy 1,000. Really?
They just like literally make up amounts to get people to pay. Like,
and I'm like, dude,
in a private school, you pay for everything.
you
Literally
literally have to pay for everything.
Nothing is free.
Nothing is free. But it's that thing. See, we not everyone can get access to private education. So why does government allow mainstream education to be crappy? Because I mean, it hurts. Even when they passed down the law saying that a kid in grade 9 can coast and getting 30%, and they will be taken over to the next grade and they will advance. Even in pure maths, you can advance with 30% in grade 9. And I'm like, there was no such a thing.
Yeah.
Where we went, it was like 50 or nothing, because they
And
knew
50, even
because
with that
they
50,
knew when you get to the real world, it's also it's the same thing of 50 or nothing. But that 50 also is not a guarantee.
Yeah, it's not like 50 is really nothing. Like you just had to be aiming for like a 72 or something. Like
because basically when you get that paper from any university, some universities are doing this commonly where they're like pure maths 65, English 55, and you're like, but I don't have 65 for that pure maths. I have 50. What do I do? And it's like, you see, you were not prepared. No one told you about this. No one is telling you that you need to get this. You need to find out yourself. But it would be helpful also if it's there. If someone is like, dude, this is what's happening. And that subject that I said, someone is saying if we could have life as a subject in between grade 11 and grade 12, super beneficial. Super beneficial. All right. I would like to talk about well-being and mental balance in life after 18. And before we talk about that, I want to tell you that I was busy researching today, and it was about our first topic, first kids. And there's an article that talks about research that was done, that was taken out to, it was a sample of 200 parents. And they were asking about their kids, their first kids. And I was shocked at this amount. And I was like, oh, okay, well, at least they know that this is actually a real thing. And I was like, well, yeah, I am a first kid. And this is true. This really applies to me. The study says 40% of the questionnaire that was given to parents about parents having a pushy parenting style towards their kids.
Yes.
The children suffer from anxiety and depression.
Yeah.
And that only goes to the first child. The second child will only receive 6%, and the last child will only get probably 2%. But that's the stats as it's sitting. And I want to ask, your well-being and your mental state, life after 18, after going through being the first child, going through life after 18, where does it go? Where are you? Not you personally, but like generally, where are you? And I'll actually ask you personally, where is your well-being and your mental balance?
Well, I feel like with life after matric, like there's just so much stress, and your parents don't understand, and they aren't really as supportive or anything. So, like, and everything is just hectic. Everyone's just going through Gubi.
Everyone is going through the most. Everyone is going through the most. And you don't even call your friends, right? Like, it's like...
You can't. Everybody's living their life. Like, I feel like, for me personally, I've been slipping in and out of depression, like... Ooh, yeah, it's been a roller coaster. Like, yeah, I can't avoid mental breakdowns. I have anxiety attacks about everything. I panic. Like literally, like my heart's just always beating so fast because like everything's just happening and yeah, it's a lot. But yeah, like mental health, yeah, slipping in and out of depression, if I can say that in a sentence.
And your well-being in terms of like your lifestyle. Are you eating like, are you eating like where you were when you were in matric? Like, are you still having your 3 meals per day?
Ooh.
Are you still like, I'm gonna exercise today,
Lol.
I am
Lol,
going to
lol,
go
lol.
hiking? Like, do those still do they play? Are they still there?
Like, I mean, for me personally, because I'm like low-key a perfectionist, I have this thing where like I want to tell myself, okay, I'm going to tell myself that, okay, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to do squats, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, but I also have to eat and whatnot. Like, but I don't do it. Like, I really don't do it. Like, I can plan it out, put a whole schedule, but I'll never do it. Like, I never, like, I'll tell myself, okay, I'm gonna wake up at 8, because in any case I have to leave at 11 for school, whatever. I'm gonna exercise from 8 to 9, but here I am waking at 10 o'clock. Like, I don't eat healthy. Like, literally, it's like Red Bull every other night, 3 meals. No, never. I mean, like, it's just slap chips sometimes, cold drink every day. Plus, like, I feel like also because my school doesn't, like, have the facilities to provide like healthy food. Well, we're moving campuses soon and they will soon, but for now and in first year, all we have actually is a vending machine. And like, I mean, you're lazy, you don't want to be walking to the mall,
It's a quick
you
meal.
don't wanna,
It's a quick 20 rands
dude,
for a cold drink and a packet of chips.
and that's all you're having, like, literally. And like, plus sometimes, because like my mom's like really busy, so she doesn't get to cook when she's home, so she's like, you know what, I might as well spend my money on junk. So yeah, like literally that's my life. No exercise, just junk food. And I mean, in terms of like well-being as well, I think also like appearance and like how you feel on your own also plays a role. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes you don't even feel like it. You don't even feel like looking nice for yourself or whatever. You don't feel like doing anything. Like, sometimes it's just like, do I even have to bath? I don't feel like it, Like, it gets to that point where you just don't feel like doing anything. Because you're running out of care for yourself. Like, yeah.
But that doesn't happen to you because you are a fashion trender and you're a trendsetter, and you have to stay stylish. Unfortunately for you, you have that pressure of being stylish and fashionable. But for other people, there are those days.
Like, I've like noticed, like, because for me, I care about like how I look, because like my godmother taught me this one thing, that if there ever comes a day where you had to meet your employer without knowing that he was going to be your employer, you have to look the part. Even if you're presentable. A student, like, try to look neat and stuff. But like, people just don't care. Like, people are tired. Like, people at my school especially, like, people be coming there in Uggs, you know what, in yesterday's clothes. We don't care, we cool, you know what, like, they have all the money in the world, but it's just like, I'm tired, I'm gonna come in my pajamas. Like, ugh, yeah.
Yeah, and I look, I will talk for myself and I say, mental balance, that's a whole nother game. That's a whole nother game, because you find that life just hands you a lot of responsibilities and you have to juggle all of them.
Yeah.
And you don't have time.
Or
and
energy.
Then, or the energy. But sometimes the devil that is called procrastination
is
real.
Drag me now. Drag me.
Is real. I can get like an assignment 2 months before handing date.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'm like postpone. Or I'd be like, today I'm gonna actually start doing this assignment. I'm gonna get myself ready, and I'm like 15 minutes into that assignment, I'm like, I don't understand this. Who can I call? Or not even who can I call. Do I need to do this?
Yeah.
Can I just not see some other day?
Yeah.
Trust me, that other day will become that the
night before.
The night before, or the week of the hand in. That's when I'm like reading the book. I am like literally trying to understand a whole textbook in like 2 days. I'm pushing to
Like,
understand it, just so that I can do this assignment. Procrastination is
is a
real.
lot. Like, I feel like, especially in varsity, because you have so many distractions. Like, imagine living in Brahm. I don't know how these people did. Like, yo, there's McDonald's.
I don't
there's
think I can
Wits Art
survive if I had to
Museum,
live in
like,
Brum.
there's Skyline. There's all these places. There's all these things you can do. People still studying. What? Guys, I just get there like, I'm going to take a nap. Cool. Wake up. Go to McDonald's. Go wherever. I can't. But then, like, I'm just lucky that even though I live at home and I hate it, but I mean, when I move out or whatever, like, even with school, I feel like because everything's like so practical, you don't have a choice but to start on it on the day you get it. Because if you don't start on the day you get it, everyone like becomes ahead and you don't like, have the same amount of work as they do, and you won't finish the assignment in time. And if you don't finish the assignment in time, 10% chopped off every day for when you don't hand in. So like, I just have that fear inside me, and it kind of like makes me do things. And I feel, for me personally, this is advice I'd give people. Like, always make sure you work at school. Like, don't be like, nah, I'm gonna go back to my res, or I'm gonna go back home, take a nap, eat, and then work. No, it doesn't work. Because if you take a nap, it'll become a sleep, and you wake up the next morning wondering what the hell happened. So make sure you work at school. Like, I work at school, like, literally, class starts at like 1, ends at 5. I take an hour break, go back into the class, work till like 2 a.m. until I'm done with my things, because I don't want to have that guilt of procrastination. It is the worst.
And something that now actually is reality. Power naps existed in high school. Power naps in university, that is a lie. There's no such a thing
fallacy,
as a power nap. It doesn't
Never.
exist anymore, because
Never such.
you will go in. I'm like, you'll even set an alarm for an hour. Yeah, I'm gonna sleep just for an hour. Ha! You will sleep for that
snooze.
whole 5 hours, and you will wake up and you'll be like, that sleep was nice, but it's the next day. Do I have time?
Or not even that, like, especially when it's winter, like, yo,
winter's
these
the dangerous.
blankets are warm,
Winter
guys.
is the most dangerous part, where you could be like,
guys,
I'm gonna take a power nap, but I'm gonna wake up at 2 a.m.
and then you're gonna wake up, and then these blankets are warm. You're like, nah, I can't do this. Sorry,
warm blankets.
Ha! You're like, nah, I got this. I'm gonna read through it.
You will.
You
will
playing
sleep.
yourself.
But yeah, mental balance becomes it becomes difficult or different per se when it's after 18. And we've seen recently with when you mentioned prom, 2 kids that committed suicide at prom, and it's all leading to depression. And it's all about them trying to keep up with school, trying to keep up with their lives, and trying to keep up with home. Because you could find in some cases, these are the kids that are like first university kids out of the whole family. And these are the kids that their own parents put pressure on. You're the one, you're the chosen one.
You have to set the standard.
You're the one, you have to do this, you have to do the bar. We don't care, we can go hungry. We'll go hungry, my child, but we're not just do it. And some kids can perform to that pressure and actually do great. We see a lot of success stories where there's one girl got a degree in law and her dad is a car guard. We see these success stories, but not all the kids actually can perform that way. You find that pressure of Endlin by Lamba, and I'm here in Bram
eating McDonald's,
or school is coming at me so strong, even though yes, procrastination is real, but like assignment A is a bit difficult, and I have to push, and I have to, like, the pressure just builds on, and that causes the child to go into stress. Then it goes from stress, then it goes into depression, because you need to build yourself up to have the energy to work through those things. And I think that's one thing that we don't talk about, parents, and it's something that actually in Black culture is an issue. When you talk about mental issues.
Ooh,
and even today, when you like Black families, depression is real. It's like no, and you're like, How is
Honestly.
it a white people's disease? Explain to me, because this thing comes into your life and it slowly eats you. You will only
Yeah.
realize that you're depressed once it's like really like got you down, when you
Yeah.
cannot be able to do anything. You're
Yeah.
not able to move. You're not able to think.
Yeah.
Depression starts as slips in. It's not like something that's like, oh hi, I'm depression. No, depression doesn't kick in at the moment. It kicks in slowly,
Yeah.
and then it grows and it builds itself, and then it just brings you down. But when you bring it up in black families, it's like, oh my god, ungazisitshelanga a demon. And you're
Like,
like, what do you mean a demon? This is not a demon. This is something that you cannot pray about. This is something that's actually killing me
yeah.
mentally. And I don't understand. When can we get to the topic where we're talking about depression to black families? And there's no such a thing as a demon.
Like, actually, like, drawing from, like, my own personal experience, I think, when was it last year, October to, like, December, I, like, literally slipped into, like, depression, and I don't know, like, how to handle it. And because I'm, like, one of those people who, like, I don't want people to know that things bother me.
Yeah.
I'd rather be the strong one for everyone else and stuff. Like, things that bothered me, like, literally from childhood, from like how I was raised, and being the firstborn, and then like how my brothers treated differently from me, and like different gender roles, everything that like pissed me off, like, was just something I carried on the inside, and like I harbored all this pain on me until like it actually became so much that I spoke to, well, I'm not like really close to my parents or anything, so I didn't feel comfortable enough to like speak to them on that level, but I wrote them a letter. And yeah, my mom read it, and she understood. I think my mom was more understanding than my dad, and she understood, and she said she was sorry. She offered support. She was like, I can take you to a psychologist if you want, or we can speak to your godmother, and she can be the medium through us to like communicate and whatnot. But then when my dad like saw it and he wanted to talk to me, he like literally laughed at me in my face, and it was like, what is wrong with you? Like, how do you laugh about such? And he's like, no, you're making an excuse just so you cannot do this and do that. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? What the hell? And like, I think ever since, there's just like this inbuilt animosity I have towards him, and I can't control it, all because of that one thing. And I feel like it could have, because we're not close or anything, like, but if, say, we had to become close in the future, that what he did, laughing at that, something so serious to me, has like destroyed all potential of us having like an actual relationship. And it's sad because like he could have handled it in a much better way, but he didn't, unfortunately. So yeah.
I have this question when you were talking about this. Is it because our parents are from a different age in terms of how they grew up, and it's different from now? Because I mean, mostly our parents grew up in the struggle, but is it because they've been through that they cannot relate to what's happening now? Because right now we're living on a different generation that they could ever live in. As much as we want to say there is a generation gap, and this generation gap is filled by what is around us. There is this, we won't deny there is this difference, but is there a reaction to things like anxiety, depression? Is it because they don't know it, or is it lack of ignorance, or is it because they're like, nope, there's no such a thing, this does not exist? And also, as a bonus question, or as a bonus add-on for you, is it because you are raised in a religious home? Depression is seen as a spirit. Is that the reason why they cannot relate?
There's a lot of factors that come to play. Like, I mean, imagine if your parents were like super traditional, typical like Zulu Pakanje. Like, do you think that they'd like also believe in something called depression? Hell no.
That doesn't exist.
Nah, it'd be like, your
To them.
ancestors playing with you. Same goes for Christianity. They don't believe in it because of like, religion or whatever. Also because like they're very close-minded. Like I feel like today, like the parents that we have, their generation, as much as like they grew up with like old-fashioned parents and they grew up in the struggle and whatnot, they have the new age kids, which kind of forces them to like think differently, and parent differently. But unfortunately it's not all of them who are like open-minded to that level to want to like understand things like this. Because I have friends who have Christian parents or whatever, or traditional parents, whatever, but because they understand that they have new age kids, they are more open-minded compared to other parents who aren't as open-minded. So like honestly I feel like it also has something to do with the parent and them like changing their mindsets. Like they can decide to either raise you how they were raised, because like I mean it's something that they got used to and found comfort in, and therefore they'll do it to their own kids. But then they also need to like realize that we're different people, we're growing up with technology and everything's different now, and we're realizing like our mental health and all of these things that they didn't take care of, or didn't want to notice. For all we know, they were like depressed, but they didn't know like how to express it. They didn't know what it was because they weren't exposed to information about it. They couldn't identify with it because they didn't know how it is. Like now you can like literally, like if you feel a certain way, you can like go and research those symptoms on the internet and be like, oh okay, I have BPD or whatever. Well, not necessarily diagnose yourself, but at least try and like figure out what's going on. And like there's a lot of like different professions that allow for people to understand other people better. Like I don't think there were like a lot of psychologists back in like when our parents were being raised.
Yeah.
It wasn't like some thingy career that was like up there with like the doctors or whatever.
Yeah.
It was just like what ifs. But yeah, now it's an actual thing, and you people can like go to psychologists and get their things figured out, get their heads figured out and stuff. So yeah,
I'm going to speak from my own personal experience, because I've been actually struggling with depression, and depression actually I've been from a young age, and my depression actually stemmed from my sexuality, and it grew from the sexuality, being bullied, and then once I started growing, it was about general things around me, like my relationship with my mother, my relationship towards a lot of things, because honestly, it was all about, am I being accepted? Am I being heard? Am I being seen as a person? And one of the things that I recently spoke about to my parents, were to my mother specifically, was as much as my mom is religious, my mom is like Christian. If there was a level of Christian, I think she is top level. She is the one that can actually speak with God. She and Jesus were in the same nursery growing up. So that's my mom. She's like stone Christian. And my grandmother is a stoned Catholic to the bone. My grandma is like Abu Mama Besonto. Abafaga Makao. So I come from two heavy stoned religious places. And recently, whilst I'm still going through, because I go through therapy, funny enough, I see a psychologist. I think she's one of the best that I've had so far, and she's actually great. I recently discovered how can I say, my niche, as in I'm growing and my mind is growing, and I'd like to figure out myself. I've moved into this belief that is not Christian, that when I said to my mom, it was like Satan, and I'm like, but it's not satanic, girl, it's not. When you think about it, it's not. It's this thing called universal belief, where what you take, and this is from my own understanding, where the effort that you put in is the effort that you receive back. And it's whatever you put into the world is what the world will give you, simply. And this is this belief that I recently stepped into, because I would like to see myself where I put myself. And I'm saying to myself, listen, universe, this is me, and I'm going to put this in my effort, and I would like to receive it back. And can it
Yeah.
be something that's good for me? And yes, in instances, it's actually worked, where whatever I put in, the universe gives me back. But now, when you're trying to explain that to someone who has always believed in God, and God is the center of everything, it's like you have lost your way.
Yeah.
And if you're losing your way, you're going to hell. And that can shake the person, and it can also put fear in the person, which is really not necessary in terms of mental. You can't instill fear when I've already dealing with something called depression, because you're just accelerating it to grow even further in my body.
Also, with that, for the fact that you on your own are like trying to discover a whole
Yourself.
new religion, you're already scared because like you had this comfort zone that your parents brought you up into, but because you're not comfortable with it and it doesn't work for you as it does for them, you venturing out into this world trying to like, you know,
Piece yourself, or get
yeah,
get an
it's
understanding
actually
of
quite
who you are.
scary because
It
you're doing it
is.
all by yourself. Nobody's there to tell you how to do it.
It's true. I agree with you. I just think yeah, it's a lot of things that people should be aware of, and something like anxiety attacks. I have had a lot of anxiety attacks
Yeah.
so far, and I thought these things were like basic, or like it would never happen to me. But you become so stressed about maybe an assignment or work or something. You become so intensely stressed that, oh my god, you just lose it. You feel like it's, and when it happens, it's always the same thing of oxygen will run away from your body. You
Yeah.
cannot breathe. Your mind is overthinking, and then you cannot move.
Or
And
like even sometimes for me, like it got to a point where even though I worked to a certain point where I felt like I was content with the work I've done for the day, I would go home and sleep and I'd still be like panicking. It's like, I should have done more, because you're like that stressed. And it got to a point where I would even dream about the work and I'd wake up but like have like sleep paralysis because it was like, oh my word, like why didn't I do this? Like it's the worst thing. Like you can't help it and you don't know how to fix it, and you just have to wait and try to calm yourself down, and then you can do something. It's the worst experience ever.
anxiety attacks are really the worst things that could happen in life. Yeah, but as I'm saying, life after 18, in terms of mental balance and well-being, it becomes a challenge to navigate through, because you really don't have the time. Sometimes, like, you find in cases where you just don't have time to be like, I'm gonna be kind to myself, because you're like, I need to do this. You're working towards something, so the time to take to yourself and be like, I'm kind to myself today. I'm going to do this. It sometimes becomes difficult to find, as much as anyone can say, oh, you need to prioritize. You need to prioritize. Great. I've got this deadline coming in. I've got this happening. I've got this. And you're like, but when do I fit in? When do I do me?
Mm-hmm.
The time sometimes is there and sometimes it's not there. So, advice that you
Well,
could give?
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out myself, actually. But it's honestly, like, as much as like I know depression plays a part, but as long as you like, you know, try to like not let it get to you, like, you know, try and see the bigger picture. Like, even though you have mental breakdowns here and there, try and always see the bigger picture. You know, one day it will all be over. One day you'll have a job. One day you'll have a car, a house, maybe a chef who cooks for you. All of those things, you know, and you'll be happy. Just see it as the hard part in the whole thing. Like, the part where you have to work so hard and like try to motivate yourself, even if it means like writing little notes for yourself in your books or whatever, being like, oh, you can do this, you got this, or whatever, you know. Or also trying to talk to your friends, people who get what you're going through because they're going through the same thing. Or if you have that kind of relationship with your parents, talk to them. Or if you have money, I mean, I think the cheapest psychologist I've come across was like 200 Rand per session. So if you are stankin' rich, you do that. But yeah, it's actually really therapeutic to talk to people who go through the same thing as you, like where you guys can sit, get ice cream, cry about it, and sleep is amazing. Like, keep talking to your friends, keep that communication. Don't let people think that you're fine even when you're not, because then, I mean, like, it just loses the whole thing. Like, then, like, I mean, you guys won't be as good friends as it should be, you know. Like, rather have friends who are useful, who can talk to you, who you can check up on, who they can check up on as well, you know. And you guys should motivate each other. And then, like, you know, when you get your things done, have like some sort of reward for it. Like with my friends at school, after every assignment, my one friend, we both like chicken licken. So like literally after every assignment, we get chicken licken because we're rewarding ourselves. It's like, hey, I made it this far. I've done this assignment. I deserve chicken licken type of thing. So yeah.
No, I agree. Talk to someone. I think that's one of the most important things. If you're going through something, please talk to someone. Let the person know what you're feeling, what you're going through. It's good to talk to someone. If you can go as far as getting a psychologist or a therapist, that is also a benefit, because those people will listen to what you're going through, and then they will give you a guideline to maneuver the issues that you face. They literally just say, they'll give you like, what can you do when you face this situation, or how to go about it. So talking to someone really, really helps. I think there was a time where I kept a lot of things to myself. And once I started reaching out to, funny enough, when I started reaching out to you, because I think you were the first person that I spoke to before I actually went to see a psychologist. When I reached out, it felt, the weight was like, it was gone. You know, like, I've spoken to someone, and now I can speak to someone else about the same thing, and it can be a freeing experience. But also with talking, don't harbor in it, because that's another thing that becomes the killer, is when you harbor into that. Oh, don't harbor in it.
It becomes so toxic.
It becomes so toxic to yourself.
Especially if it's like things that people have done to you, because then you don't know how to control how you feel around those people,
or how you interact. And that's the truth, because recently, with what you're saying, it's what I've recently discovered, because where I live now, because I live back home with my grandma, and growing up, I used to be bullied for being a freaking gay ass person on earth, and that those people used to bully me, ridicule me, make fun of me about being gay. And I'm like, yeah, I know I'm gay, but I'm still trying to figure it out. But those people would like literally ridicule me, make fun of me, even when I'm walking outside. The kids in the street would like make me feel like, you're not part of this community. You do not belong here. You're an outsider. And we're going to like cause you pain. We're going to make you miserable about this place. And I did. I became so miserable about living with my grandma, or even visiting my grandma at the time, that when I moved away from home and I went to go live with my mom in the south, it was like, well, I'm far away from my bullies. I am safe. They're not going to hurt me. They're not going to do anything to me anymore. It's when I moved back, I was like, oh my God, I'm back here. Oh my God, they're going to bully me. They're going to ridicule me. But funny enough, it's like, 8 years later from the bullying, these people couldn't give a damn. if you're homosexual.
Yeah.
They couldn't even give two damns. But it's like, I'm still sitting at the point where I'm like, but you guys did this to me. You
Yeah.
guys did this to me. You guys did this to me. How?
And you can't get over it.
And I can't get over it because it's you. You guys caused me
Yeah.
pain when you should have embraced me. It's like, you guys should have done this. They couldn't give two flies.
Yeah.
They couldn't care. So it's that thing where you need to know how to interact with people that have hurt you. You're not supposed to sit in it. But as much as we can say that people that think this way, we shouldn't also encourage it. People being like, that thing happened long ago.
Yeah.
It happened, yes, but you know what? It still lives on into this person's mind. So can we come to an agreement or to some conversation where you acknowledge that you were wrong?
Yeah.
I'm also wrong
Definitely.
for letting this thing harbor for many years. Also, can you find a way to maneuver the situation together, where for example, when I walk out of the house, I can greet you because we're the same age. It's no longer me and you when I was 9 and you were 11 and you were busy calling me a faggot. Can I just walk out of the door,
Yeah.
greet you, hi, how are you? Good, thanks. Moving on. You know, so it's like
Yeah.
we-
Be civil.
we be civil. Can we all come to that consensus of let's be civil? And yeah, let's all be kind to one another because heck, you don't know what the next person is going through.
Yeah.
The person could be happy, and it's one of the things that I recently learned, that you could be having a bad day, but the person next to you is, you don't know. For example, you can be like, oh, my computer at school crashed, my assignment is not saved. The person in the taxi, just someone close to them died, and funny enough, they still had to get to work, they had to do this and that and
Yeah.
that. So as much as you're having a bad day, someone next to you, hey, is having it times 2. So let's just try to be kind to one another and let's try to be civil as much
Yeah.
as we can. All right. Thank you so much
It's a
for
pleasure.
coming through and joining me for this first episode. Thank you so much. When can people find you? Where can they follow you?
Okay, I'm not really social, but here we go. Instagram, Penelope Msomi, which is PENELOPEMSOMI. I forgot my Twitter handle, but you know what? You can DM me on WhatsApp.
Is it something?
No. It's no. Now I remember it.
Oh.
Twitter is Ncedo Msomi, NCEDOMSOMI. Unfortunately, I can't give out my numbers. So
No, you can't.
Yeah. It was really nice being here. Nice to vent, talk about life and things.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much for listening. Once again, this is CLOUT, the podcast. I am your host, Katlego Christopher Khoza. And please don't forget to follow us, House of Kaystopher. Find us on WordPress, Instagram, and Facebook. Thank you for joining us.